that.
Okay, so let's start with topic number one. So topic number one is awful questions. So Inman came out with an article about awful questions to ask. Question number one is, are you pre-qualified?
Well, and just to be specific, awful questions and how to ask them with respect to real estate agents or real estate in general. So the question that Mark was bringing up was, are you pre-qualified? I guess the industry perceives that as a very awful question to have to ask their buyers. And again, we're going to address these different things. Mark?
So I'm not a fan of this question, and a lot of real estate agents ask this to buyers, especially at open houses. Are you pre-qualified, or even are you pre-approved? There's a lot of real estate agents and loan officers that mix and match pre-qualified with pre-approved with different meanings. And so if our own people in the industry get confused with the terms, why are we even asking buyers to do this? I'm a big fan of simply asking the buyer, have you talked to a loan officer and have you discussed financing options? Brian?
Well, I'm a little bit more old school with this, and I tend to have a little bit of a big background on different types of financing packages. So the way I approach this problem is very different. At the same time, since I have a lot of different agents under me that are coming in from various stages in their career, whether they're first-time agents or long-seasoned agents with their own style of doing things, I tend to ask, give them a more simplified version of asking this difficult question. So for me, I always use it as a segue to get as much information about the buyer. In fact, I'll even prepare them with, hey, I'm going to ask you some very detailed financial questions. Are you okay with that? The reason I'm going to do that is because it's going to help me to help you find out what different types of loan packages are out there that you might qualify for, such as a 3.5% down payment, which usually blows a lot of people's mind that they can actually come in with that low, or sometimes if they're qualified with as little as zero down, such as with veterans loans. So this is an awful question that a lot of agents have because it's difficult to ask. They don't really know the question or the answers to these things. And as Mark mentioned, they a lot of times can just defer to, have you been qualified? So again, we're talking about how to ask them. And for me, I like to use it. I like to prepare them that I'm going to ask them a question, but also give them all the intrinsic benefits as to how answering it as truthfully as possible might help me to help them.
One thing I like to do is also, and I learned this years ago when I first got into real estate, is why are you even assuming that they're going to be financing the purchase? Why can't they be coming in as a cash buyer? And it's also one thing that's, if you've ever been on the buying side, if someone asks you, well, are you going to be buying this cash or are you financing it? It kind of makes you feel nice when someone thinks you can buy it cash. And I've seen some great results. I know it's a marketing tactic, but it does work for you real estate agents out there. So I would simply ask, are you planning to buy this property cash or are you looking to finance it? And then just keeping it very simple. If they come in and say, no, we really are looking for financing, then okay, well, have you talked to a loan officer? Where are you at in the qualification stages? And that just starts that conversation to get some more information out of them as to what's going on. And I think this is going to segue us into the second bad question is, are you working with a realtor? I hate this question so much because everyone's going to tell you yes. So why are you going to even ask, are you working with a realtor? They may have a cousin, a brother, sister, a relative, a friend, someone that they know. And I think at one point, 1 out of 10 Californians were licensed real estate agents.
Right.
So most people
works at the post office has a license.
Exactly. So most people knew of some real estate agent. So I'm a fan of simply saying, if you make an offer on this property, do you have an agent that would write up the offer for you?
And again, just to kind of wrap things up because we are beginning to run out of time, those are actually questions I'm on the polar opposite of. I like to always ask, are you committed to an agent? And then kind of explain to them the differences between whether they're working with an agent or not. That way it just kind of doesn't waste my time and doesn't waste their time. And a lot of times these days, buyers are more savvy, so they'll let you know up front if they do have an agent. And if they don't tell you up front, then it might be a good idea, in my opinion, to ask. At least this is what I've always done. So, and I think with that, we need to go on to the next topic before we ramble on just too long,
Okay.
which we never do.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
So next topic is Keller Williams ghost agents. Oh, and there's our bell. So we beat the bell
Wow, we beat the bell.
by
Okay.
like 5 seconds.